Executive Director of the San Francisco Film Society, and welcome to the San Francisco premiere of author of the J.T. LeRoy story. A couple of quick notes, please turn off all the things in your pocket. They go beep and boop. This is a great movie and shouldn't be interrupted. Please don't text in the theater, and all of those other nice rules that we'd like you to enforce, but feel free to continue having cocktails, because of which are being served in the lobby. We're having a great weekend of films. Please join us, especially for some of our gala presentees. I'm going to be with Ellen Burstyn tomorrow at the Victoria, with Mira Nair here on this stage on Sunday, and then with Tom McCarthy, the writer-director of Spotlight at the band PFA on Tuesday, Francisco International Film Festival. The subject of this movie is a San Franciscan, very important member of our community, and someone I'm very happy to call a friend, Laura Albert, who we'll be meeting after the film. It's also a film about how we construct identity, which I think is a very specifically San Francisco concept. And how this film plays out and talks about that, I think, is incredibly profound. And the man who put that together is with us, and I'm going to introduce him now. Please welcome the director of author of the J.T. LeRoy story, Jeff Feuerzeig.
Thanks. Well, Noah said it. It's cool to be here in the city where this story really took place. So it meant a lot to me and my producer Henry Rosenthal to show it here and be here with SFIFF. So I don't talk before a movie. The movie should speak for itself, but we'll have a lively Q&A after, and I absolutely hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Dr. Jeff Feuerzeig. And a very special person in the audience we want up here now too. Please welcome Laura Albert. Hey, sweetie. So, thank you for making this quite extraordinary film. It's, you know, both a portrait and just such an interesting exploration about like the wellsprings of creativity. And I don't think I've seen a portrait of an artist quite like this. And so I want to kind of start by asking how you found each other and how this film got shaped.
Okay, well, a journalist friend of mine turned me on to the story, I don't know, probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I had not read J.T. LeRoy. I'd heard of J.T. LeRoy from the New York Press, because J.T. LeRoy used to write a lot of pieces in this paper that I used to read in New York. And the hook was the same as what we were being told at the time. The greatest literary hoax of all time. I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. So I read every magazine, Vanity Fair, Rolling Stone, Salon. Everybody had covered this extensive pieces. And it was like fascinating. I said, but you know, there was one voice glaringly missing from all these accounts. And that was the voice of the author. And I said, wow, that's the voice that I would like to hear. So I reached out to Laura, and she never got my email, because she had a dead email account to J.T. LeRoy, because the author at that point was dead. And finally I hooked up with her. And she saw my film, The Devil and Daniel Johnston. And then it was my turn, so I said, okay, I'm going to read these books. So I read Sarah first, and then I read The Heart is Deceitful Above All Things. And I was blown away by the writing and the artistry. And that was the point. It was like, okay, now it's up to her. Does she want to go down this road with me? So I'll let you tell the rest of that story. why the hell you decided to do this.
Well, when I saw, first I just have to say, because this is so fucking like, I was just sitting there watching this and I'm just saying, how do I feel about this? Oh shit, this is me. Like this is like, this is, I just, sorry to break the story, but I have to say, like, I moved here in '89, and my social worker from the group home had told me that I needed, if I had any hope of being normal, I should institutionalize myself for at least 2 years. And instead I pulled what's called a geographic and decided to come here and be a rock star. And I checked myself into a mental hospital just to be safe. And I used to spend my days going to meetings and coming to the Castro and watching double features because I had so much time. And so I saw The Heart is Deceitful, which was the creation of all of that life, that other world that I lived within. And then to be back here with all of you who have become my family, have seen me through so much, I just have to talk to that because it's like the meta. And it's pretty profound, it's pretty surreal, and it's pretty fucking mind-blowing. And I have to say, just so many of my family, all of you from all parts of life are here, and it means you've been with me through so much of this and so much of this. I know some of you are like going, what? So just thank you for, there's that saying, let us love you until you learn how to love yourself. And that's what you guys have given me, and I promise you I pay it forward and back, and I always will. And I just needed to say that.
That's fantastic.
Well, cool. So to finish the story, so she says, I'm going to work with you for 2 reasons. Because you're punk rock and you're a Jew.
And we're doing this on Passover.
That's right, happy Passover.
We'll play, hide the Afikomen, or find the Afikomen.
We'll hide that later.
It's funny, I was in the audience tonight watching with all of you, and I just felt the weight of Prince and David Bowie dying. I felt these laws in North Carolina which are trying to stricture ideas of identity, and it just feels like this is a film that talks about how important the fluidity of creative identity is and how the construction of the author matters. And I kind of want both of you to talk about that a little bit in terms of how you want this film to be received, what you want it to say to people, to creative people, in a world which doesn't always accept that idea, that a creative person lives differently.
Well, it's a true story, and it was just like, all right, we have to tell this story. And the story of Laura Albert, which was the backstory, which formed this person, was the untold story. So when I read those books, which were so powerful, they had some very, very strong themes. And nobody could write those themes unless it's coming from somewhere, and I ended up learning where those themes came from. And it's tough not to have deep empathy for those themes and what this person has gone through. And it's tough not to admire great art and great writing. And it's really hard to write a book, and you did it. And those are great books, and I wanted to allow you to tell your story for the first time. And through that, I think, to answer your question, I came to learn the whole of what an artist actually is, and maybe where does art or fiction come from. I think if you leave the film, hopefully it's with a question. Where does fiction come from? maybe it's answered here, I don't know.
I'm just amazed at the seamlessness. I've seen the movie, well, I've only seen this cut. This was the first time. And it keeps getting better and better, but blowing my mind, he makes it so seamless, because this was a pretty complex story to get, and I always notice things. For a long time, I didn't get the play back and forth with the old video, because it was kind of blowing me away with what I'm saying. He weaves it just, and the way he goes back and forth, because he would say, I think I got it. Oh wait, I made it better, and I've got, because I knew I was so down, stuck in a crevice,
Both.
did it first time, that I needed somebody to get me out, but I knew it couldn't be just anyone. I wouldn't do that. I turned down all the deals and offers because I knew it wasn't about that if I needed to die misunderstood or not, then that had to be okay. About the artist, right? Oscar Wilde said, "Give a man a mask, he'll tell you the truth." And he also said, Nicole, what's the quote? That no man had...
We have the right to quarrel with artists and conditions under which he chooses to present his work.
You good sister. Yeah. Did you hear that? Nicole, you want to come up?
Nicole, a little louder on that. We have no right to quarrel with an artist in the conditions he or she wishes to present his work.
And for me, what I loved about Devil and Daniel Johnston was the capacity that I don't know how he did it, but he allowed Daniel to rest transparently on the grace that gave him rise. It was just so organic, and just you understood, okay, this art came out of like the way an oyster creates a pearl out of irritation. And
I have to agree with you about that. The Devil and Daniel Johnston in this film shares something remarkable, which is a kind of grace. And it's kind of grace in which it takes in their subjects, and also allows the people around them this sort of complete humanity. And I think it would have been really easy in this movie to make the celebrities around JT just pure caricatures. And I think one of the things that's so interesting with the movie is there's moments of obviously great humor. Courtney Love doing a line is awesome, but you actually see their journeys with JT in so many cases. And I know that there's some of the famous people who were enthralled with JT have become great friends, and some of them haven't. And I kind of wanted to ask how that was woven into the movie, how you chose to deal with that, because it is a very complex thing as a filmmaker, and also as a collaborator who had these personal relationships, also a really difficult thing to contend with. So, Jeff, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. I mean, at the top, when I was trying to raise money for this thing, everybody was like, oh, celebrity, celebrity. And like, I could give a shit about celebrity. And anyone who knows me knows that's true. What I came to love about the story, the truth of the story, was that Laura was being accused, or JT was being accused of like glomming onto celebrities. And that was written about a lot. That's not what happened at all. Everyone in this film who mattered read those books and reached out to JT LeRoy. And you see that. Gus Van Sant, you hear the phone call. Oh my God, I want to make a movie. Ozzy Argento, it's a movie, I see it, it's a movie. These are artists, and like Laura said, and like Bono, they sent backstage passes. I read your book, come. JT LeRoy wasn't stalking the celebrities. It was an artist, to quote Laura, an artist-to-artist connection, which I can appreciate. I think they are artistic peers who enjoyed whatever exchanges you guys had. But certainly it started with the art.
how are your relationships with this panoply of celebrity that sort of is around JT, Laura?
Well, I mean, I was always interested in artists, and it had nothing to do. I mean, I remember we were at a party, and they were like, it's this big flaunt magazine. They were like, "Yo, let's get JT with Paris," and I was like, "Where is she?" And it was like, "Over there." And I told Savannah, left. There's no, I mean, you know, nothing against Paris. You know, she served her purpose, but it just, there wasn't any.
No connection.
Yeah, and for me, there are artists that I very much, I miss that felt sense of community with artists. I mean, that's something that David Milch gave me, of being in a writer's room, which I absolutely adored. And there's this story I'll tell you at the beginning of the year of Deadwood, when we started. It was like in August, late August, and he said to me, "How do you want your name to appear?" And I said, JT LeRoy, and he gave me this sad kind of Eeyore-like. And then after everything had been broken and the cord cut, he came to me again and he said, "How do you want your name to appear?" And I didn't even know how to say my name. I just kind of mumbled it like Laura Albert. And he said to me, it always makes me cry. He said, "That's what I had hoped." And you know, he gave me the grace to get there. So to be around artists who understand that it's, sometimes it's by any means necessary while holding someone's heart, that I don't give a fuck whether they're famous or not. That's the thing, see, JT always would talk about so many people that weren't a name, but the media would cut them out. They weren't interested. I was interested in, you know, you send the elevator back down, you get as many people through the door. That's what I did with the group home and everything. Like, those are, I'm still in touch with those people. They all know. No, none of them went to the media. They all fucking knew. That's my family. That's my world.
Absolutely. It's funny because there's this, you know, the film, there's this wonderful moment where you talk about the Bono moment, but there's also the Billy Corgan moment, you know, and the sort of moment of truth and the moment of actually finding someone who kind of understands, you know, the idea of an artist, you know, and this moment of revelation in the film is really beautiful in terms of when they see the film, sort of wonder sort of how that inspiration, the inspiration of this sort of coming out process in a way that sort of begins at that moment, kind of has pushed you in different directions as an artist in some ways. And I'd love to hear, almost beginning from that moment when, and that David Milch moment you just said was incredible, when you actually were able to say your name and what that's meant for you as a trajectory as an author or as an artist or creative person.
Your Tarzan moment.
God, I love that. That was, yeah. So you know, the thing is, I heard from so many people when I'm doing a documentary, they're like, "I hate documentaries, it's all boring, talking heads." I'm like, you don't like that talking head documentaries? Don't go to one, this ain't that. I was just like, it's so, that time with him, I didn't, you know, I'll tell you something. The night before, we were actually staying at Asia's house in Venice Beach, and she had like a walk-in closet with like, she had all the gels and the perfumes and the expensive eye creams and everything. And I had just started losing weight, and I just started kind of, I just was learning how to walk through a turnstile without turning sideways. Like, I would still do that. And I was looking at all her clothes, and the creams, and I just started crying because I just thought, tomorrow I'm gonna meet a hero for me, because he was like one of the first people. He talked about child abuse, and Spin magazine accused him of using that to sell records. Like, whenever was that fucking cool, you know, to like, oh, I'm gonna sell a record, I'll talk about being abused. Like, this is like way back when, I mean, maybe now it is, but he just was really talked about that, and I thought, I'm gonna see him tomorrow, and he's gonna do what everyone did. I'm gonna go up and say, hi, I'm Spady, and he's gonna go like, okay, where's JT? Like, yeah, thanks, where's JT? And that's, I don't belong of this world at all. And I knew how, I just cried, because that was gonna be really painful, but I knew that JT had a connection to him. And then when I was with him, and I just, I've talked to him about it, like I can't explain it, I can't put it into words, but he was just really present, and he was available to revelation, and I just felt like I'm gonna do it, and I did, and I had been practicing. I mean, I would tell people all the time. I mean, when someone would joke, when I was on the set of the movie, they actually had Speedy rewriting the script. Nobody asked why, it was just, okay. I mean, it was like that all the time. So, I mean, it was just, it was a lie agreed upon, is all I can say. It was a lie agreed upon. It wasn't really a surprise to anyone. But I was getting bolder and bolder, and that really just, so when I met Milch, I told him right away. I mean, right away. There was no, and I just knew, and he said to me, your work is of service, you're touched by God, we got your back. And that was it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the great services of the film, actually, is that, you know, while there's, you know, kind of a media moment that sort of serves a kind of journalism, heroism, narrative, the process, of course, was far more complex in terms of, like, you know, how the story unfolded. You know, the storytelling style that you use in the film, Jeff, is really beautiful. And how, was it listening to the tapes? Was it just hanging out with Laura a little bit? Like, how did you decide to actually make it with this?
Dana Johnson, I thought, had the biggest archive ever excavated in the history of documentary. So it was 4.5 years, and I transcribed every tape myself. Laura's archive beat Daniel. We had, first we showed up with a minivan one day, and we had to go back to the airport and get a full cargo van, because it's unbelievable. Her mom started saving stuff, and then she started saving it. She saved everything that's ever existed. I mean, thousands of photos, tapes, videos, films, it's unbelievable. We had vans coming up and down the coast to LA, because I would never ship FedEx because they would lose it. So I and my team, I do deep dives. I've been in this rabbit hole for 2 years. I just got out of it today, by the way.
Congratulations.
Seriously. So anyway, I literally immerse myself in everything, listen to everything, and try to crack the code of whatever this onion is. And I constructed a 3-act narrative. And then I just go to work, and I never leave until it's done.
And I just want to say, I gave him everything, every diary. I couldn't, there was no agreement, there was no like, I'll leave this out. It was just like, everything. And if it was going to be found that I was the Antichrist, then that was okay with me. Because once I trusted him, I go either like I'm open or I'm closed, and there's no in between. I really don't think I'm good at modulating or censoring very well. I'm not, and I have no filter. And so, those who know me, is that true? I hear you, Hannah. Okay, so, yeah, so I'm amazed at how he just went in and did everything, and I trusted that he was open to revelation. And
Fantastic. We have time for one or two from the audience. If anyone has anything they want to ask our guests tonight. Got one right there. You belted out, I'll repeat it.
Okay, I was wondering how your son Theo dealt with, or Thor, sorry. Your son Thor dealt with the truth versus the fiction versus all the personalities that all of his parents and his aunt had. I'm wondering how he's dealt with all this.
How has your son Thor dealt with all of the sort of different personas and different identities that have been around this story?
You know, he was very, very protected. He grew up in a real artist's home and got to experience really wonderful. He had really wonderful experience. I've talked to him about it, and he said to me, you know, he liked being Thor. It made him feel powerful and other, and he's very much of himself. And you know, he had an innate sense, like when Savannah was there, he knew it was Aunt Savannah, and when JT would move into her, he very much got that the way a child will, just understood that. It wasn't like, okay, you have to not. It wasn't like a Tommy thing, you don't see it, you don't hear it. It wasn't like that. It was just like, he knew that this was JT. When I would look at a picture of JT, I wouldn't say, oh, that's Savannah. It was like, it was JT that I saw. And so he knew that. And everyone who meets him just really says, what a great fucking kid, you know? He's got a great sense of humor, and he's so open to all kinds of experience. He doesn't need to sign up for the gender classes because he's got it down.